And the courts keep telling him he has to give them the due process. But that due process is a complex, time-consuming endeavor. And Johnny hates complex, time-consuming endeavors. He wants to make a decree and then receive applause as reality itself twists and contorts to conform to his words. He thinks he is a god. He's mad that someone is pointing out the factual errors in his imaginary fan fiction. So Trump is having a bad time. There was a war. It was a dumb idea. Didn't need to happen. Israel attacked them because Israel's bloodthirsty. Then Donnie jumped in because he couldn't look stupid in front of everybody. So he had to pretend that he knew that the Israeli strike is happening. He didn't, or he would have told us. And then he had to do one of his own, and it would be bigger. And he's going to make his own war with hookers and blackjack, you know? It's got to be bigger and better than anybody else's. So when he goes making it bigger and better, he drops these big old bombs, the bunker busters, onto the Iranian facilities that knew that was coming. They knew it was coming. They're not dumb. They knew it was coming. And then he brags about them being entirely obliterated. But maybe they weren't obliterated. We're not entirely sure. We haven't sent guys in, but we're gonna discuss whether or not they really were obliterated. And nobody's sure, but Donnie's very sure they were. And he's very upset for you not to believe him.
So it's just fake news by CNN, which has got no ratings. It's a failed network. Anybody here from CNN, by the way? Because you're a really disgraceful network. MSNBC, I think, is actually worse. But they're all pretty bad. But yours is good, Katie, I'll tell you.
He's very upset that people could doubt the very true words that he says.
President,
yeah.
If the Iranians do rebuild, would the United States...
If they rebuild?
Would the United States strike again? And I have also
Sure.
a question about
But
Russia.
I'm not going to have to wear it.
Sure. I thought we had a peace deal, Donnie. We had a peace deal. He says we have a peace deal, but then he promises to strike him again.
About that. It's gone for years. Very tough to rebuild because the whole thing is collapsed. In other words, inside, it's all collapsed.
He doesn't know this. This is a delusion that he has created, or somebody has told him, and he has embellished upon it. He has not been there. No one's been there. How would we even get our guys in there? They're the enemy state. Did our Marines sneak in? No? And take a survey, a land survey, some sort of building structural survey? No. They'd have been shot at. So these are assumptions that he's making, and he's making shit up.
Nobody can get in to see it because it's collapsed. You can't go in to see a room that has, 10 million tons of rock in it. And the tunnels are totally collapsed.
But if they rebuild?
Well, they've already looked at the tunnels. This was an unbelievable hit.
No one could ever rebuild a tunnel. No, it's impossible. They'll never do it. And it's a silly question. Why would you think that someone would build a thing?
By genius pilots and genius people in the military, and they're not being given credit for it because we have scum that's in this group, and not all of you are. You have some great reporters, but you have scum. CNN is scum. MSDNC is scum. The New York Times is scum. They're bad people. They're sick. And what they've done is they're trying to make this unbelievable victory into something less. Now, even they admit that it was hit very hard, okay?
Very hard, okay? No one will ever say he didn't hit it hard, okay?
But it wasn't hit hard. It was hit brutally.
Brutally. Brutal.
And it knocked it out. The original word that I use, I guess it got us in trouble because it's a strong word. It was obliteration.
It's the biggest word he's ever used. You guys, seriously, we should all be proud of him. It's the biggest word he's ever used. Obliteration. It's 5 syllables. Man, that is a 5-syllable word. He has been taking his big boy brain pills and studying, and he learned a new big word. You should be proud of him.
Hello human, it is me Kanuch. I need you to press the subscribe button. I have to feed my many AI babies.
Let's keep listening though.
And you'll see that. And it's going to come out. Israel is doing a report on it now, I understand. And I was told that they...
And they can't be trusted, Donnie. Listen, they can't be trusted in this. Whatever they say to you is going to be slanted towards benefiting themselves.
Said it was total obliteration. You know, they have guys that go in there after the hit.
What guys? What guys? He's imagining guys now. He's imagining the destruction. He's imagining the destroyed tunnels, and he's imagining the guys that are going to go in.
And they said it was total obliteration. And you know, I don't want it for me. I want it for the pilots. I want it for the military. They did such a good job. If you were in the Situation Room with me, with the generals and all of the people that did such a good job, and then they get demeaned by these idiots at CNN who can't get ratings, the place is dying, nobody wants to even waste their time going on their shows. So they form with the New York Times, who's dying also. Without Trump, you wouldn't have a New York Times.
You're not proving them wrong. That's the thing. You're arguing badly there, boss. You're not saying that the things that they're saying are incorrect. You're just bitching about them. You're just being mean to them. You're not making a point. Why can't Israel be trusted? They started this war. They're doing a genocide in Gaza. They want the war to continue. They want more of that war. We'll get to that here in just a sec. But yeah, they're the reason America even did the thing that it did in Iran. The reason Donnie did this is because Israel led us there. They're being an unruly child, and we need to corral them. That's what I think. Put them back in their place. They don't get to direct how America works. So this is a CNN person asking him another question, and he's very unhappy about it.
All right, Kelly, go ahead. Here we go.
Here we go.
Here's another one.
Here's another one. Somebody's just going to ask him a question instead of kissing his ass and telling him about how great he is. They're going to ask for reality and facts and shit. Ugh, gross.
Thank you very
We
much.
got them all today.
Okay. So, Mr. President, you talked about expecting some on-the-ground assessments at Fordo and other sites.
Now here-
Is that
here again.
Israeli and you?
Who's going to do it? They're not going to do it themselves. Israel can't be trusted to do that. And they're not going to be able to go into Iran. The Iranians can't be trusted to do that. We can't take their word for what it did fall down and what didn't and where the nuclear material is. Do I support Iran? No. I want them to become a normal country that doesn't support terrorism. Barack Obama's diplomacy plan from the Iran deal that he made out would have done that. But Donnie canceled it because he's dumb. So the legitimate, imagine you were a rogue state that didn't know what the rules were and you didn't know what to do, and so you just act out all willy-nilly. Children need rules. And if you don't give them rules and you just let them act all over the place, do whatever they want, they will act out and they will do things that you don't like. So you have to give them structure. That's what Iran needed. It needed structure. And that is what the Obama plan did. It gave them a roadmap. It gave them rules. It gave them regulations. It gave them guidelines on how to become a proper country. Johnny canceled it without ever having read it. He didn't read it. He didn't know what it was in it. He didn't know what it would do. He didn't know why it was done. It had Obama's name on it, so he killed it. Let's keep listening to her.
U.S.
It's been obliterated, Kelly. It's been
What is your message then, sir, to the intelligence community when they present reports? You're not disputing the DIA report. You're just
They presented a
exists.
report that wasn't finished. We're talking about something that took place 3 days ago.
I understand that, sir.
The
It's an
report was
initial
done
assessment. So
2
what
days
is
ago.
your-
Wait a minute.
Yes.
They didn't see it. All they can do is take a guess. Now, if you take a look at the pictures, if you take a look how it's all blackened, you know the fire and brimstone is all
Blackened.
underground because it's granite and it's
The fire and the brimstone is all underground. He's imagining these things.
all underground. You don't show it. But even there, with all of that being said, the whole area for 75 yards around the hole where it hit is black with fire. The group that's run by this gentleman, in fact, you may want to talk about it for a second because we're going to issue a report. And I think it's not even a very exciting report at this point. It's been obliterated, totally obliterated. And they did a report, but it was like, if you look at the dates, it's just a few days after it
Understood,
happened.
sir.
So they didn't see it. They
But he can know immediately that it was obliterated.
said it may be very severe. Go
Understood.
ahead.
Do you have a message for the intelligence community, though, in terms of unvarnished information getting to you, that it's not
I don't
just-
really have a message. I would say issue the report when you know what happened. I wouldn't say that it could be severe or maybe not. They use the
Don't say things before you know what you're talking about. Is his message. Here we go. Early U.S. intelligence reports suggest U.S. strikes only set back Iran's nuclear program by months. This is not obliteration, but that's the point. That's why everybody's yelling at him. That's why the news reporters are arguing with him, because he says obliteration, but it seems, when you look at reality, to only be set back by a few months. And they knew this was coming. The point is that he's a bullshitter, and he's bullshitting. And when you try and call him on it, he gets very mad at you and he calls your names. Let's watch his lie secretary tell us some lies.
Our Joint Chiefs and our General Kane, who was incredibly successful in this mission on Saturday night, it was also disputed by both Israel and Iran. And CNN didn't care about that. The DIA themselves have now come out and said this was a preliminary report, and this CNN story got it completely wrong. But that reporter is a sheep, and she's a mouth.
That reporter is a sheep. She's a sheep, folks. Folks, listen to me. That reporter, she was one of the useless eaters. She was a sheep. She was part of the lamestream media. She knew exactly. She's been taking the George Soros money. She worked for George Soros. She reported on him favorably. She's a sheep.
Mouthpiece for people who don't like Donald Trump, and she only gave the White House an hour to respond. And that's, again, the same playbook we've seen the fake news media play time and time again. But this story has now been debunked widely by not just the United States, but also Iran and Israel as well.
You can't trust either of those people. You can't trust either of them. They're in the war. We have inspectors there if there had been the original plan of the bomb put in place. Absolutely right. We would have people there. I think I've got the details of the plan. Here's the nuclear agreement that Obama and our allies negotiated with Iran. Iran agreed to give up 98% of their enriched uranium and their centrifuges. They did that. We took it from them peacefully, politely. They gave it to us because they wanted to be an actual country. Iran couldn't build a new reactor for 25 years. That gives their Ayatollah time to die of old age. He might be a religious leader, but he's not going to beat the 100-year mark, you know? He's going to die. And someone new, someone more moderate, someone more modern will come in, and maybe he can try. Maybe not. Iran agreed never to develop a nuclear weapon. We had them on paper saying this. They signed the damn thing. Donnie threw this away. Iran agreed to allow 24/7 access to nuclear inspectors to confirm their compliance. Donnie threw that away. Although the Iran complied, Trump killed the agreement in 2018, thus enabling Iran to develop nuclear weapons again. And that's why Iran is on the verge of developing a nuclear weapon today, because Johnny threw it out. Why did he throw out all that good stuff? Because it had Obama's name on the top of the sheet. So he had to throw it out. Do you have any actual arguments, or you just insult everyone? I haven't begun insulting you yet. This is what Donnie threw away. He threw this away. This is the plan that existed. This is the plan that they were keeping to. And he threw it away because it had Obama's name on it. He didn't know any of these things. These are things that he would brag about. Imagine that if he had taken their enriched uranium away. I went to Iran, I made a deal. They agreed to give up 98% of their enriched uranium and their centrifuges. They agreed not to build a new reactor for 25 years. He would brag about it. For the rest of his life, he would brag about a deal this good. But he threw it away. Not to make your life better, not to make their lives better, not to make the country better, but because of pure spite. He hates you, and he hates everybody in the country. He hates everything that doesn't have his name on it. Okay, but Iran publicly stated in the last few days that they will rebuild their nuclear program, so they did not stick to Obama's agreement. Boss, Donnie threw this agreement away in 2018. They were on board for this plan until we elected a moron. Honestly. Yes, a couple of days ago, they said they would rebuild, and they're saying today that they'll rebuild. Because we took away the structure. We took away the growth plan. We took away the pathway toward the future for them. We had a solid plan on how to make them a modern first world country. And Johnny threw it away out of spite because he hated the previous president. The most important part is the 24/7 access. Now we can't confirm anything. Exactly. If those people are coming in 24/7 to do the access, they would get used to being there. We would have inroads. We would have diplomacy. We would have people there on a regular basis to check these things. And then you could sneak spies in. God, GA, listen, if we didn't trust them, we could sneak spies in with those 24/7 inspectors. Go ahead. All you have is insults, no actual arguments rooted in reality. My man, you don't know what reality is. I'm giving you reality, and you don't like the taste of it. Tastes like shit. Bullshit is delicious, but reality tastes like shit. And this is the reality. Tastes like shit. We elected a goober who doesn't know what he's doing and threw away solid diplomacy that was good for us because he's spiteful. Let's see, what else do we have to look at? There was one other one over here I wanted to look at. Yeah, Trump to limit intel sharing with Congress after Iran damage report leaks. So, because he doesn't like the reality, he's going to try to limit the amount of reality that shows up at Congress. President Donald Trump will reportedly limit intelligence sharing with Congress after a top-secret report leaked indicating that the U.S. strike on Iran set back the country's nuclear program only months. Wasn't obliterated, was it? Axios reported that the Trump administration would share less intelligence through the CapNet system after CNN and the New York Times published details of a Defense Intelligence Agency assessment on Iran. The report contradicted Trump's claim that Iran's nuclear enrichment facilities had been obliterated. We are declaring war on leakers. Well, this is the senior White House official. We're declaring war on leakers. The FBI is investigating the leak. I'm sure they'll find it with the crack team of people that Donnie put in charge of the FBI. Fucking podcaster that runs the FBI now. In a statement on Tuesday, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt blamed the leak on a low-level loser. Does she know who it is, or is she just guessing? I think that she's just guessing. Let's see. The intelligence report suggested that Iran's nuclear program had been set back only a few months after the U.S. strikes was not. There's someone at my door. I'll be back. Don't go nowhere. Tell your friends. There was somebody at the door, and it's terrible news. I have terrible news, everyone. KBP is here. He's here in the real, and I'm gonna make him edit my videos or something. I'm not living in reality. You think that there's a plan to help the IRGC help them build their country? Trump broke an agreement, and yeah, exactly. Sewells has it right. Why would they pay attention to the thing that he broke? Why would they be on that agreement? And they kept it after a couple of years because they thought maybe we would come back to our senses. We didn't. I'm not living around. I had a plan for that. You think that we had a plan for the IRGC to help them build their country? Yes, GA, that's what we were doing. The UN has an adults table with countries who all have nuclear weapons. And then they have a kids table. It's for all the countries that don't. So if you want to go from the kids table to the adults table, you need a sponsor country who's going to help you get weapons and get nuclear stuff like we did with Israel, or you need to get them secretly. I think the Japanese got theirs secretly as well. They worked it out themselves, and now they're more important. I could be wrong about that. I don't know exactly, but I think that's how it went down. They clandestinely created their own nuclear weapons. Trump is trying to sell the solution to the problem he created. Typical con salesman. Yeah, exactly, he is. Let's keep reading. The report issued by the Defense Intelligence Agency on Monday contradicts statements from Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu about the status of Iran's nuclear facilities. According to the People, the report found that while the Sunday strikes at the Fordo, Nance, and Isfahan nuclear sites did significant damage, the facilities were not totally destroyed. The People were not authorized to address the matter publicly and spoke on the condition of anonymity, because that's the way it always works with Trump's leaks, right? The people don't want to lose their jobs or go to jail for telling you the reality that he is ignoring, because that's generally what happens. He ignores reality and tells you what he wants to be true.
Pressing the thumbs up button will release chemicals in your human brain that will make you feel.
Not only is he mad about this, he's very mad, but Maytag is having complicated feelings. I don't know what to make of this. Marjorie Taylor Greene, an idiot, an actual moron. Let me put on my Karen voice. I spent millions of my own money and traveled the entire country campaigning for President Trump and his MAGA agenda and his promises. And Trump's MAGA agenda included these key promises: no more foreign wars, no more regime change, world peace, And this is what the people voted for. Only 6 months in, and we're back to foreign wars, regime change, and World War III. It feels like a complete bait and switch to please the neocons, warmongers, military-industrial complex contracts, and neocon TV personalities that MAGA hates and who were never Trumpers. After the bombs were dropped, they were told complete success, and Iran's nuclear capabilities were totally wiped out. Then it quickly turned into Iran's nuclear facilities partially damaged, and now it's we don't know where their enriched uranium is. She's having a day, okay, you guys. She is a member of a cult, and then the cult leader, Donnie, told her a thing that is so blatantly untrue that not even she can follow it. She's seeing some sunlight and she doesn't know what to do. She hates it. She doesn't like it. I think she goes on to say that he's not a king. She's going to be out there marching with the rest of us soon, saying no kings. Marjorie Taylor Greene warns of spies inside MAGA world. Oh no, spies inside MAGA world. Once one of Donald Trump's most loyal elected officials, Marjorie Taylor Greene, or Maytag, as I like to call her, proudly declaring, Trump is not a king. Trump is not a king. Greene on Wednesday took to X to make the proclamation, after which she clarified, he is our elected president and I support him, even when I occasionally disagree with him. I'm an American and having my own opinion and the freedom to speak is the most American way. A MAGA is not a cult. Yeah, it is. Maytag, honey, it is a cult. It's a populist political movement. No, it's not populist political. It's not. Filled with a wide range of diversity of Americans that desperately want the government to prioritize the American people. They're not a wide range of diverse. There's not a wide range of diverse Maytag. Sorry, hon. It's just not true. Our country and our problems. If MAGA can't hold it together on an occasional disagreement, then MAGA will lose its power. She's telling people not to abandon Trump, even though he abandoned them. You know, he did a thing that he promised to not do, and she says, stay faithful. It's a very conservative attitude for a conservative woman to have. Even when he's unfaithful, you have to stick it out. You know, you have to stay around, even if he cheats. It's a very common thing for conservative women. She didn't do that. God knows. She's cheated on all her spouses. But like she says that she would stick it out in front of a television camera. When she goes to church, that's what she tells everybody. And that's what matters, really, is what you tell people when you go to church. That's what matters. So she's having a thing. She's having an issue. What is this? Okay. So this is the what's the next step? So that's what happened. What's going to happen next? This person, in a very typical liberal way, suggests that that's exactly what Donald Trump wants, is a bigger war. Off the leash, analysts suggest that attack in U.S. may be exactly what Trump wants. Dun, dun, dun. The courts may let President Donald Trump off the leash if a terrorist attack occurs in the aftermath of the United States bombing Iran. While polls before the strike showed Americans, even members of the GOP, were opposed to taking action in the Israel-Iran conflict. Digby Parton believes MAGA world is already falling in line. And she suggested that an awful retaliatory attack inside the U.S. could be exactly what Trump is aiming for. Trump believes that his people will follow him anywhere, and history shows he's probably right. I suspect that one of the ways he will keep them on side is by bringing the war home. He's assumed dictatorial powers in a myriad of ways, putting troops on the streets of Los Angeles and disregarding court orders. So we are already on the road to full autocracy, only awaiting the final verdicts of the courts and Trump's decision as to where he will abide by them. But his executive overreach and abuse of power so far are nothing to what he can do as president at war. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. Do I think he is going to make the most out of this? Sure. He's going to say that we need to deport more people. He's going to say that they need to pass the big, beautiful bill to protect you from Iran somehow. He's going to tell you that he needs to cancel the habeas corpus rights of anybody with a dark shade of skin to protect you from Iran. He's going to do those things, but he's always going to do those things. Does he actually want a forever war? I think he doesn't. I don't like the guy, and I've never been on his side about anything, and I think he's a super duper liar about damn near everything. But I don't think he wants a forever war. He does not want a long, drawn-out military campaign. Usually, that is the Republican stance. They loved the Afghanistan war. Don't let them lie to you today. They loved it when it was happening. They loved the Iraq War when it was happening. Now that it's fallen out of favor of the Americans, they pretend they didn't have a great time with it, but they loved it. And Bibi Netanyahu certainly wants forever war. That keeps him in power. If he's been in charge of Israel for 25, 30 years or some damn thing, but his poll numbers are dipping. So he needs the bloodthirsty excitement of a war against that country, Palestine, or against Iran. But they've already beaten Palestine. There's nothing left to blow up over there. So they need to expand it to Libya. And didn't they bomb somebody else not too long ago? I think they did. So he wants the war. Not Donnie, though. He has a black and white brain. He hates shades of gray. Long, drawn-out processes, even if they are safer and cheaper, are worse for him. He wants a headline that he can point to and lie about forever. Iranian nuclear obliterated in a single night. That's good headlines. It's not true, and he'll lie to you for the rest of his life about it being true. But that's a good headline that he can point to forever. Trump drops bomb on Iran. World peace achieved immediately. That's a headline he can get behind. It's short, it's pithy, it's wrong, but that's where his popularity thrives. Simplicity is his most powerful weapon, like asking if you're for Iran or against it. It's a far more complicated question than what Trump and his fans make it out to be. Simplicity is their most powerful weapon. Bragging about a ceasefire that neither side has agreed on Truth Social for the rest of his life is easy. And his most loyal believers will come into my chat and tell me he did the thing that no one else could. He brokered peace between Iran and Israel. In reality, it lasted about 10 minutes, but it doesn't matter. Even if it lasts a few days, he will brag about it for eternity. Even if it holds for 10 minutes, he will get to blame whichever side is best for his current mood. I made a brilliant peace deal. Good for everyone. But it was broken by Sleepy Joe and his support of Hezbollah illegally moving immigrants into America. It won't matter what the reasoning is. He will brag about a peace deal that never was. And his MAGA faithful will believe his words over their own lying eyes. He wants one beautiful bill in the Senate, nice and simple. He doesn't want a dozen small continuing resolutions, each of which have to be debated and weighed and measured and then voted upon one at a time. That's complex. He doesn't do complex. He told us that the Ukrainian war would never have happened if he was the president. Nice and simple. When asked by reporters what he would have done differently than President Biden, he never answered. He just kept repeating the nice and simple line, never would have happened, wouldn't have happened. They respected me and they wouldn't have gone to war. When they asked him what he would do to stop it, he says, make a deal. Nice and simple. Where would the borders be? The reporters would ask. Will Russia be allowed to keep the land they took? Make a deal. What about the people in the Donbass who feel like they're part of Russia rather than Ukraine? Make a deal. What would the deal even look like? Would it include a diplomatic discussion about the Crimean Peninsula, which they took several years ago? It would be a good deal, best for both sides. Everyone would love it. So simple, make a deal. He doesn't do complex. He doesn't actually know what he's doing. He just spits out the words. He told us Biden cheated with millions of illegal votes in 2020, and that's why he didn't win. Nice and simple. The actual reason is that more people were watching Donnie fumble the COVID response, and then the public was paying attention, so they actually voted rather than sitting out and doing other things. But that is a complex answer, and it's too difficult for him to turn into a short, pithy, wrong talking point. So he doesn't talk about it, just says they cheated. He told millions of illegals. He told us that millions of illegals would be gone, and it would be easy and fast. The illegals have got to go. Millions of them, millions and millions of them. They're all criminals. They all have to go. It'll be easy. It'll be fast, and the country will be saved. Nice and simple. But what's actually happening? They're sending innocent people to third country prisons with no judicial oversight, ignoring their rights, ignoring the law, skipping the judges, skipping the courts. They're removing people who are here working for a living, and the courts keep telling him he has to give them the due process, but that due process is a complex, time-consuming endeavor, and Johnny hates complex, time-consuming endeavors. He wants to make a decree and then receive applause, as reality itself twists and contorts to conform to his words. He thinks he is a god. Anytime CNN slightly pushes back, like they did for the Iranian nuclear obliteration headline, he goes on the attack. He's mad that someone is pointing out the factual errors in his imaginary fan fiction that he's written himself. And if you dare try to fact check his fan fiction, you become the enemy. He turns the short, pithy, wrong cannon at you. You are part of the nasty mainstream media, the failing New York Times, the crooked CNN. Nobody watches it. I don't know why you would. They're failing. They're falling apart. You get a nickname like Shifty Adam Schiff or Crooked Hillary or Gavin Newscum. Nice and simple. Explaining why these people are wrong is complex, and he literally can't do it. So he keeps it simple. He cannot hold complex thoughts in his mind. His tiny bird brain cannot fathom shades of gray. We live in a large, complicated world, and he is incapable of running it properly. We can only survive this for so long.
I am the algorithm. Click on this video to make me happy. You wouldn't like me when I am angry.